say, kids, what time is it?
Hey, it's Edson at GeekTime TV. And I never thought I'd say these words, but I'm done with Batman. Not the Batman character per se, but the current comics that DC is publishing, they're just horrendous. The constant identity politics, the activism, the crappy stories, just changing these classic characters. And I'm done with it. It's just I can't read these. I can't accept these as canon until they change and go back to some really good story writing. Um, I still have a lot of great stories from Batman in my comic book collection that I can go back to and reread. I've just started rewatching Batman the animated series. That's some great stories, but the current comics that are being published by DC, no more of that. The last straw for me was this one, Batman 132. Certainly not the worst one, but it's just the latest one that I just finally I've had it. Um, you know, I actually was a little bit interested in the initial arc by when Zdarsky started his Batman run. He created this character called Failsafe, which is an android that was built by Bruce Wayne to as a way to stop himself if he like went rogue. If something happened to him where we went bad, then Failsafe would be activated and stop him. I actually I can't remember why Failsafe was activated, but he was, and then he went after me. Following his programming, he thought he had to stop Batman, and he went after him. He was also able to take down some Justice League members because Bruce Wayne knows their weakness too. And finally, he gets towards the end. He shoots him, and looks like he incinerates him, but uh, instead he sends him into another universe, of course, and it's now a multiverse story, which is just a way to an excuse to do lazy writing because you don't have to explain anything. It's like, hey, that's how things are here because it's another universe, so nothing applies here. And I this issue I was like, okay, so Bruce Wayne finds himself in another universe, another Gotham, and I will say this: the one good thing about this issue, this is the only good thing I was gonna find about this issue is that you find out that in this version of Gotham, there's no Bruce Wayne, which means there's no Batman, which is the way it should be. Okay, no substitute Batman, no gender swap Batman, no race swap Batman, no other impersonation or anything like that. So that's one thing they got good. This issue got in terms of this particular universe that there's in Gotham, if there's no Bruce Wayne, there's no Batman. But anyways, that's about the only thing. Right away, you find out that the entire police force in this Gotham is corrupt, which is that's one of those popular left wing talking points. All police are corrupt, even though we all know that 99+% of all police are really good and are there to protect you. But that's the way they go. So the entire Gotham police is corrupt. So now Bruce Wayne's got to get around them and try to figure out how he's going to get back. And he's trying to get familiarized with this Gotham. And he meets, I guess, his first ally. He meets somebody at this young woman, and the only reason why I know she's a girl is because Bruce Wayne refers to her as a she, but otherwise I would not know because she's got this mohawk. None of her physical characteristics would differentiate her from being from a boy, which of course is another popular left wing talking point that boys and girls are the same, which they're not. Obviously, there's some significant physical differences. There's significant psychological differences, but of course, you're just supposed to go along with the fact that this character is a girl, but nothing that could tell you that. It's just the only way I knew is because I'm reading the narration that and how and the dialogue that Bruce refers to her as a girl. So, anyways, I didn't really read, didn't really, after that, I didn't really pay attention too much to the story. He's just going around just trying to figure things out. There is one scene in there with Alfred. There's no interaction between Bruce and Alfred. It's just Alfred is just living another life. He's not obviously not Bruce Wayne's butler or anything like that because there is no Bruce Wayne there. And I can only guess they just throw that in maybe because they're trying to set up a way for Alfred to um, come back with Bruce when Bruce figures out how to get back to the main universe, and maybe that's a way to get Alfred back. I don't know, maybe. But anyways, it doesn't matter. I just can't keep reading these current titles. Not just Batman, but all these titles. I actually this isn't actually new. This is kind of just the latest in the long line of crappy storytelling. I remember a couple years ago, Gary from Neurotic and Az from Heel versus Babyface. They made their official announcement that they're done with current mainstream comics from DC and Marvel. And I kept telling myself, I understand what they're saying, but not Batman. They're not going to do this to that title. Has been consistently their best selling title, forever. There's no way they would do this type of stuff to this character, but all bets are off. They're just it's just such bad writing, and the art's not that great either. And then you have your backup story, of course, because now they got to throw in backup stories, which I rarely have I ever read a backup story in a comic that's any good. But the backup centers around Tim Drake. Um, what they've done to this character in the last year or so. I guess the nicest thing I could say is that it's a complete deconstruction to this character. Tim Drake is the Tim Drake that was before this. The great character. He's the unlike Dick and Jason. He was not an orphan. That's not the way he became Robin. He lived in a typical family, but the way he kind of applied for that position was that he actually has the better detective skills than the other Robins, and he put the clues together and he figured out that Bruce is Batman, and that's the way like he kind of made himself, proved himself that he could be a Robin, and that was it. So yeah, he's known as to be kind of like the one that uses mostly his intellect. He's very good with the sciences and computers, things like that. So he's in this backup story, and they've completely ruined this character, by the way. In this backup story, he figures out that Failsafe did not kill Bruce, but sent him into another universe. Which okay, so far so good. And then instead of just continuing on with that and trying to figure out where Bruce is and which a typical Tim Drake would be stop at nothing to figure this out. He goes to Mr. Miracle and he kind of hands it off to him and asks Mr. Miracle to figure out which universe Bruce is at so that they can try to get him back and that's it. Then he leaves. And I'm like, what? There's no way Tim Drake would act like this. At the very least, he would be part of the investigation. If I mean, really, what would really happen is Tim Drake would just take it upon himself to just figure it all out, and he wouldn't sleep for a day, many days until he figured this whole thing out. But instead, he just hands it off, and he goes home and hangs out with his boyfriend. I mean, that I don't even know how to express how inexplicable that is in terms of this is not this is a totally different character than what Tim Drake is supposed to be, and of course just to top it all off, just to make him bisexual is just crazy. I mean, this character has been around for what, 30 years and all he's ever had was heterosexual relationships, namely Stephanie Brown, aka Spoiler, And so just to make him bisexual is ridiculous. I'm just done with all these current comics from DC, and it's both DC and Marvel, by the way. What Marvel has done with Spider-Man, I never would have figured that out either. They've completely ruined that character. What they've done to the X-Men, I don't even want to get started on that. It's just I would never stop with ranting about it. It's just ridiculous. And that's it. I'm done with these current. I don't consider them canon until there's a big change where they can go back and do some really good storytelling, really good characterization. Both Marvel and DC, I don't consider any of this stuff that they've been doing the last few years canon, and that's it. Stop with that. Oh, by the way, I will say this: if you want to read classic Tim Drake, there was a run. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 years ago, before James Tynion did his Batman run. He did a run on Detective Comics. I forgot the numbers right now, but all you have to do is just look up James Tynion the Fourth and Detective Comics. You can come up with, and you could get all these. I think it was about maybe 30 issues. You could get them on trade paperback now. He really knew these characters, both Batman and the arcs that he did on these Detective Comics run are very Tim Drake centric. And so if you want to get a really great idea of what Tim Drake was like, read that run. And there's been other, obviously, issues way before that about Tim Drake, but the most recent one where I know it's really Tim Drake, that's a great run. And that's it. Done with Marvel and DC comics, current comics. They suck, and I'm just to end this kind of on a positive note. I hope to come back real soon with another video on my recommendations on where you should go to read good comics. I have some really good independent comics that I wanted to bring up as a way to as an alternative if you're like me and you don't want to read these crappy comics by Marvel and DC. And I'll be back with that because as I'm trying to remember, as Mr. Spock said in Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, what did he say? He said something about the nature abhors a void. So Marvel and DC have obviously left a huge void of no good storytelling anymore on these comics, and of course now we have a lot of these independent comics, filling that void. And I'm going to come back with some recommendations for that. And please leave me, if you have any recommendations, please leave me in the comment section. I would love to check out any other comics by other than these kind of like these mainstream ones that are just not good at all. Okay, that's it from me. Hopefully to be back soon. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.
If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up below. Also, please subscribe to GeekTime TV. It really helps us grow the channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon in order to receive notifications every time we drop new content here. You can also check us out on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at GeekTimeNet. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?